everyone. Welcome to Views on News. I am Jawad Tehami. Pakistan, being the frontline ally in the war on terror, fought that war tooth and nail and launched some grand operation in order to eliminate the scourge of terrorism from Pakistan. And owing to these grand operations and the relentless efforts put in by the Pakistani leadership, including the armed forces and the law enforcement agencies, terrorism was defeated, and Pakistan rebuilt that confidence in the international community that Pakistan is a peaceful, safe and secure country. And owing to certain incidents that happened during those days when the terrorist attacks were happening in Pakistan, and Pakistani authorities were playing their utmost role up front in order to defeat terrorism. International cricket was suspended for some time in Pakistan, and after a brief hiatus, international confidence was built because of the relentless efforts Pakistani authorities made in order to defeat this menace from Pakistan's soil. Zimbabwean cricket team was the first one after that brief hiatus that touched down on Pakistani soil and played a series against Pakistan back in 2015. Then Pakistan Super League also played a phenomenal role in order to build that confidence among the international players to come to the Pakistani soil and play international cricket over here. Now, England cricket team is here in Pakistan after 17 years. Back in 2005, they played a test series in Pakistan, and now this time around they are going to play a 3-test match series against Pakistan, which is going to start from December. The first elaborate security arrangements have been put in place in order to avoid any sort of untoward incident. And already English cricket team, most recently back in September and October, played a 7-match T20 series against Pakistan, which of course England won by 4-3, but they had expressed their satisfaction regarding the security measures and arrangements by the Pakistani authorities for them. Regarding this particular series, Pakistan Cricket Board has welcomed the English cricket team, and likewise Information Minister Maryam Aurangzeb has also said this is a historic moment for Pakistan and English team and their fans, and she looks forward to an exciting series. And she has also thanked all those people who are involved in making this one happen. A kind gesture at the same time by English team captain Ben Stokes. He has announced that the match fees he'll be having from this series will be donated for the flood victims in Pakistan, and that kind gesture has been appreciated by Prime Minister of Pakistan, Mr. Shehbaz Sharif, and he also said this particular donation speaks volumes about the philanthropic tradition of England. We'll be discussing the relentless efforts Pakistani authorities had been making over the number of years in order to defeat terrorism and rebuilding that very confidence among the international players, especially of the cricketing world, to come to Pakistan and play their game over here without any fear. We'll be joined by an esteemed panel of guests in the studio. We are honored to have been joined by Brigadier retired Shahid Jagir. He's a senior analyst. Brigadier Jagir, thank you very much for your time. We really appreciate it. And on Skype, we are being joined by Mr. Parvez Jamil Mir. He is a senior journalist. Mr. Mir, thank you very much for your time. Also at Views on News, really appreciate that. I'll begin the discussion with you, Mr. Jagir. It had been really an uphill task for the Pakistani authorities over the years, but finally, owing to the grand operations and their relentless efforts, they defeated terrorism. Now we see international cricketing teams coming to Pakistan to play cricket. Your take on that?
Thank you very much for inviting me on the program. I would like to say that after a very long time, we will be seeing Pakistan as a sports event country also, where in the war on terror there used to be bomb blasts, killing and all that. But a time has very luckily come back where we will be seeing these sports activities very regularly, and especially the cricket, which Pakistani nation loves to see. Yes, you very rightly highlighted that we have come a long way for this achievement. Uh, Political comment, military has played a very vital role from the last about 20 years, that they have been together for this purpose of bringing peace to Pakistan. And army, not only the army, but the civil law enforcement agencies have also, played a very vital role. Although the major brunt has been faced by the army, they have cleared the area infested by these terrorists, and also the civil agencies which have, gone into the intelligence based operations along with the military forces in the settled areas where they have got them out, taken them to the task, and today we move freely in the country. Our women move freely in the country. Our children go safely to the schools. Our transport is working. This shows that the next step was to bring back this, our lovely cricket back to the Pakistan, where the Pakistani people can enjoy. And you have seen the last series which we had in Pakistan was wonderful. There was no problem of the law and order in that regard. So, in my personal view, and I always used to say that we are not a fanatic country as the narrative has been shown to the world. Second important factor was Indian factor in that they hijacked this phenomena, that Pakistan is a very, very dangerous country. Anyone living in America or England thinks that the moment you land in Islamabad or any part of the Pakistan, there would be a Taliban standing over there with a gun in his hand, and he will be ready to cut your throat. But now the time has come. You go anywhere in Lahore, Karachi, Peshawar, Islamabad, you see the people having fun till 12 at night freely. There is no problem of the thing.
Exactly.
We have paid a very heavy price for this. And let me assure you, from the point of view of the government and the public and the army, that we will defend this liberty which we have gained with a lot of price.
Right. Mr. Mir, after relentless efforts over the years, Pakistan had to pay a huge price in countering and defeating terrorism. Finally, as a result of which, we have seen that brief hiatus that came for international cricket in the country, that very confidence among the international players was rebuilt. And we saw Zimbabwe coming to Pakistan back in 2015. And now we see English cricket team, after the gap of 17 years, is here to play the longer format of cricket. Your take on this, sir?
I remember, nearly 44 years ago when I played against England in Peshawar, and there was no need for security. There was no need for any of these heavy contingents of, any kind of a force present. But then, what we saw against Sri Lanka, we went into cricket abeyance for 11 years. Our boys were totally left out of international cricket. And of course, the armed forces, the chiefs, the political aspect, they all played a very important part in getting cricket back onto our soil. And needless to say, we did have opposition, particularly the Professional Cricketers Association, who were basically very unwelcoming their players to come and play in Pakistan. But players took a step and they started coming in. You're quite right, Zimbabwe, it made the inroads, and then of course Sri Lanka did it. And now, hopefully, we'll be getting more teams. This is a very good platform. As just now what Brigadier Shahid was talking about, Pakistan has always been pulverized on the international scene and on the international media for these acts of terrorism, when Pakistan was never even there. These were the outside agents and insurgents who had come into Pakistan and were doing all of that. And if you remember in 1974, when the IRA were pretty proactive, and what they did, in fact, they took up the field in Leeds at Headingley when Australia was playing against England. So these kind of acts were all there, but Pakistan became a helpless victim on the international media, on the international forefront. Uh, in some ways, I wish we had played a more proactive role in clearing ourselves and in explaining to the people that, this one sentence from Brigadier Shahid, that, anybody who comes into Pakistan, their throats will be slit and so on and forth. Yes, they were present because they were being spread around by our adversaries. And that is the reason people got very scared. I mean, I've lived most of my life in England, and I tell you, I had to go and explain in my cricketing fraternity, having played there, that it was never the case like that. It was just propaganda by, well, I'll be very frank, propaganda by the Indians, and that led us perhaps to the stage. But now, I think the Indians have seen the light that whatever they tried to do, it couldn't work. This is a new bunch of boys there, and they've got very, very good relations with the Pakistani boys. And seeing back England here in the Test series is a great, is a great healthy, happy eyesight for the cricketing fraternity, and of course an inroad every other team to come and play in Pakistan.
Right. Brigadier Shahid, when you already mentioned there was an external factor in this particular thing, and the kind of reference that you have also given, and Mr. Mir has also alluded to the fact that there was external propaganda at the same time going on. Pakistan had been relentlessly on the international level, had been sensitizing the international community regarding that particular adversary's role in order to foment terrorism in Pakistan. But nothing concrete at that level of the international community had been done in order to impress upon that adversary that, look, state-sponsored terrorism can't be happening. And it could be not only detrimental for a certain country, but for the entire region overall as well.
Look, when the Indians, cricket is a big lobby, international cricket, I would say. It generates a lot of funds. And Indians, under the garb of terrorism in Pakistan, they find this opportunity to encash that particular thing to damage Pakistan. One. Second, the important thing is that, yes, we do had a hard time. Why they want us to be a country of state sponsoring terrorism? Because what is happening in Kashmir, the whole world knows it's a state sponsoring terrorism, and Pakistan is very vocal about that. To counter that, they always say that there is a terrorism going on. But as I said to you, the Pakistanis are the fanatic people. I bet and I say that you go today at this time to any mall in Islamabad, you would find people dressing up like Hamid Mir Saab and myself, like me, like you. You will find also people wearing pure Islamic dress with turban and shalwar kameez. You will also find the people wearing jeans and all. But they all would be moving together. They would be sitting in the food court together, having food and chit chat and all that. Some will be watching the Cinepex. So where is the terrorism? Where is it? The terrorism was for a particular time and with a particular aim to damage Pakistan. We have $120 billion damage. We have over 100,000 casualties in terms of law enforcement agencies, police, army, police and civil. And the atmosphere which was created, it was purely to damage Pakistan. So, India being I always say, India being our adversary, why should not it take the benefit out of it?
Right. Mr. Mir, sports is something that unites the nations. It unites people, it collects them and make them collaborate from a certain platform. As we see, the FIFA World Cup is underway right now, the biggest sporting event in the world. With the sportsman spirit, every player is putting in his best efforts. When it comes to cricket, people are very much passionate when it comes to Pakistan and India. So there had been some idea of cricket diplomacy in order to overcome the differences between Pakistan and India. Rather than going that track, we saw India trying to dismantle that very confidence among the international community against Pakistan that it is not safe and secure even for the sporting events. Why do you think such an idea prevailed over the number of years in India?
Well, for starters, when the Indians say that it is not safe to play in Pakistan, well, Pakistan can go and play in India and they don't want Pakistanis to go and play in India. So the question here arises, the security, this theory just goes out of the window. Well, after all, we've got other sides who are coming and playing here in Pakistan. They don't have an issue. You're the ones who create issue. You're the ones who create fear. And that is the reason, people get like what we saw with New Zealand. Lastminute.com, we don't know where that news came from. And the New Zealanders, or anybody for that matter, would have been, pretty hyped up. So where does this news come from? Where does all these disinformation comes up? This comes up from the Indian side because they don't want our cricket to improve. Now, that's the establishment we're talking about. As far as player-to-player contact is concerned, even before, myself, Imran, and many others, we played against the Indians in England, and there was been no problem whatsoever at all. I mean, it was all, as what the brigadier said, it's all friendly. And there's been no, political angle to that side. We used to eat together, we used to play together, go out together and all that. It was never the case. It's just in India that the hardliners have taken this step. And I'm sure they'll come to grips to senses that this is not the way forward. Leave politics out of cricket, leave everything out, and then we have an inroad on that. Now look at that, an England captain coming into Pakistan and donating all his match fees, for the flood victims. What a great gesture. I wish the series would have been called the Pakistan Flood series. That would have been a much better. And I would expect that our Pakistani boys do the same because, the England captain coming along and giving such a great gesture, I think we ought to be doing it. We should be doing it, and we should have done it. But having said so, we've got to move on. We've got to look on the brighter side. We've got to look on the positive side, that here we are, a side coming in, but this is not the end. Remember one thing, there are always adversaries out there. There are always people out there, and I'll particularize India. Sadly, I'll particularize India, that they're playing a very negative game in harming friendship, tranquility, peace, and of course, cricket diplomacy through their venomous attitude. We can't have that. I mean, what has cricket got to do with, any kind of political, inclinations? But I think better sense will prevail, hopefully will prevail, and we will be playing cricket together. But seeing England here, it's a great sight. I've got all my friends, who have played in county cricket, and it was a great thing. One of the boys who came here was a son of my colleague, Don Topley. His son, Reece Topley, visited here. And, it was a great thing to see that, people coming in. Why? Because Don knows what Pakistanis are like. He has played with Pakistanis and he's played with international, cricketers. And he knows what happens in Pakistan. So I'm sure these are the kind of boys, the old boys, who come along and encourage the youngsters, hey, go out and play there. MCC has tours. In India, they should be coming into Pakistan. I'm a member of the MCC. I've always encouraged, please come along and play here. But it'll take time. We do need a cricket diplomacy because it is a great bonding factor. It is a great bonding factor and it is a great diffuser of tensions, political tensions, and all kinds of, let's say, nonsensical arguments and debates.
Right, Mr. Ami, your point is well taken. I'll have to take a short break and we'll resume the discussion from here. back to Views on News. We are having in the studio Brigadier Retired Shahid Jagir, Senior Analyst. On Skype, we are joined by Mr. Parvez, Jamil, Mir, Senior Journalist. Before going on the break, Brigadier Jagir, as Mr. Mir said that we should actually head for the cricket diplomacy and the kind of gesture that the English cricket team captain Ben Stokes has given, such type of things should be coming from the other side of the border, from the east also. So what stops India from heading towards cricket diplomacy in particular?
It is just the animosity with Pakistan, I would say. You see, India is turning into a radicalized society after this Hinduvata concept. If you remember, when India lost from Pakistan, they changed the captain, Rohit, who's an excellent batsman. There was a lot of allegation on the bowler who was a Muslim. There was a lot of allegation on the bowler which was who was a Sikh. So it is that in what Pakistan always projects, that it is not Pakistan which is hindering into the normalizing the relations with India. It is India. Now, as you very rightly highlighted, what makes the England captain to donate all the match money fee for the floods in Pakistan? Because it is just the humanity. It shows that they also feel like Pakistanis, that we are in trouble. Where there is one country which is always trying to find an opportunity which hurts Pakistan economically, diplomatically, in terms of manpower, in terms of its relations in the world. So how can it be possible? So India, till the time they mentally accept Pakistan as a country, which is the biggest hurdle in their relations with Pakistan, I think this will be difficult. But yes, as you have said, the cricket is a game which both the nation's people, they love. I have been part of a Pakistani delegation in 1992, Asian Games in China. I know the atmosphere in that Asian village which was created. There you are not Pakistani or Indian, any other country. You are a sportsman. You create the relations between the sportsmen, and that is which negates the perception which is there on the media, electronic and print media about a country. So cricket diplomacy, yes, it can play a very vital role. It can bring down the people together, and but I'm sure you invite today the Indian team, they will not come.
Right, Mr. Mir, you already mentioned a very important point. There is improvement in the security situation in Pakistan. International teams are coming to Pakistan. English cricket team is here to play a 3-test match series. You mentioned that adversaries are still going to be there. What more needs to be done in order to be more vigilant, in order to thwart all the nefarious designs of the adversaries?
Well, I've always advocated, Jawad, that when foreign teams come to Pakistan, instead of being holed up in a hotel, they should be meeting, people, ordinary people, well, known people, and get their views as well. Because just to go out from a hotel right into a cricket field and then back into the hotel doesn't tell you much about the country. Either, we should organize little tours of our historical sites. We should show them around. I mean, particularly in Rawalpindi now, we've got Texas. I mean, they'll get to know who we are, what's our background, and what's our heritage, what's our culture. And that is what needs to be propagated and, proliferated into their mind. Because don't forget, we got a new, fresh Pakistani team. We've got a new, fresh England team. The new boys who are here on the block, they are playing here. They must know what Pakistan is all about. They will be your ambassadors who will go back into England and into other countries when they have exchanges about our country in particular. They'll be able to speak about Pakistan, that what they've seen apart from cricket. There's more life to it. So I think that is the kind of diplomacy which needs to be implemented. The Pakistan Cricket Board should, organize a little, get-togethers, with the others, and they will tell you that what Pakistan is. We can always, speak on television, about our points, but let them get to know firsthand, and that is where the message will go, and they will become roving ambassadors of Pakistan. We go to England. We went to England, and when we went to England, then we came back and told everybody what England was really like, or go to Australia or to, Tasmania, wherever. And that is where you come back and tell your, countrymen that, look, this is what we faced, and this is how we played, and this is how the kind of people we met. I mean, giving the Indian reference, let me tell you, every Indian who comes to Pakistan goes back with a very open-hearted and warm feelings for the country of Pakistan. Every Indian. I can tell you that. Because they come here, they get love, they get affection, they get friendliness. They don't get any kind of animosity or any kind of bitterness. They don't get those. Yet, I'm sorry to say, and I'm really sorry to say, that, when you go to India, what happens? I'll tell you what happens. Our musicians go there, they degrade them. Our, delegations, culture go there, they degrade. And unfortunately, because they're right now captured by the RSS, a renegade band,
Right.
I'm very, it's a bad thing to say. This is the reality. And this is the reality here is also about Kashmir, about the Dalits, about the Tamils, Nagas, Mizus, and Assam and Tripura and all that. What is that? Khalistan. So all of this is because they cannot afford to see a good and a healthy Pakistan. Well, the incumbent prime minister has extended his hands. Let's see, they listen to it. The previous prime minister and the previous. We've all, regardless.
Right, Mr. Mir, I beg your pardon for the interruption. I'll have to interrupt you over here. We are joined by another participant. I'll continue the discussion with you from the point that you have left with. Mr. Mohsin Hassan Khan, former Test cricketer, is with us on the phone line. Mr. Khan, thank you very much for joining in at Views on News. English cricket team is here in Pakistan after 17 years gap. How do you see over the years the relentless efforts which have been put in by Pakistani authorities in order to defeat the scourge of terrorism that rebuild the international communities and especially cricketing world's confidence in Pakistan being safe and secure? Right, we lost the connection with Mr. Khan. Mr. Mir, please continue with your thought. Please go ahead.
So this is the kind of, I think, diplomacy which is very important. I tell you, in 2007, when I went with the Pakistan team, what we used to do, we used to sit, play the game, and huddle back, and there was no interaction. I spoke to the chairman then, Dr. Naseem Hassan, look, this is not the way. What we need to do is have our boys interact with the opposing sides in the World Cup. And that is what needs to be done, because the World Cup is meant to be integration. It meant to be meeting each other, knowing each other, getting to be friendly. And that is something, our boys have been lacking. And well, hopefully this new management will look into it, and hopefully they'll try and rectify it, because it's not all about cricket, Jawad. It is all about knowing the other. Because I remember distinctly that, when we were playing, and they used to be talk, oh, how will you face Lily? Oh, how will you face Thompson? It was not a question of Thompson or Lily. The simple question was, and the answer was, that play the ball. That's it, play the ball. And if you've got some kind of a taboo on these big names, talk to them. Believe me, once you talk to them, that fear of the unknown is gone. And that is where it helps you yourself, and it helps our country as well. So I think that is the way forward.
Right. Brigadier Shahid, as Mr. Mir has pointed out that adversaries are still going to be there. He highlighted and recommended a lot of points regarding building the soft image and getting into contact with the other side as well on various fronts, highlighting various positive aspects from this side of the border. So in terms of meeting that adversary to avoid any untoward incident that relates to security, what more needs to be done?
I think the nation has to be prepared. All those who go and play, see the match, they have to be aware of this. Law enforcement agencies will do their best to put the plan in action for the security of the players and the stadium and all, and the place where they are living. But I think now the environment has changed. It's not the environment which was 5 years, 10 years before. We have got the grip on the people, those who was notorious, and certainly I don't think that anyone will dare from Pakistan to materialize the Indian designs in that. So I hope that we will have a very
So there is going to be the change of command tomorrow, and General Asim Munir is going to take over the reins from outgoing Chief of Army Staff General Jawad Bajwa. There must definitely be high expectations and hopes that the new military leadership is going to maintain that very tradition of relentlessly fighting this menace and not allowing any sort of element of such sort to take root over here.
First of all, I would like General Asim very good luck for the command. He is a very professional soldier. He is very committed, down to earth, and there is no doubt in his competence. I say farewell to General Bajwa, who has commanded this extreme organization in a very trying time. So that is as far as the command is concerned. One thing is very clear, both for the political pedestal and the military pedestal of Pakistan, that there is no compromise on the security of the country. We will defend each and every inch of our external border and each and every inch of our internal. We will ensure that the menace of this terrorism is rooted out. As you see, still we are conducting the intelligence-based operations, not only in Fata, but in Balochistan and the other part of the country. It is only because our adversary wants this this fire to keep burning, because it is damaging to us and beneficial to them. You have would have heard on the social media many of the general officers talking about getting some people hired on big price for these activities in Pakistan. But neither the political nor the military hierarchy would compromise in anything. General Asim Munir and his team of the military will never compromise to lay down any sacrifice for the defense of this country, and that's what the tradition of the Pakistan Army is. That we have, we will do our best to defend the country, to bring peace and prosperity. That's why you see during the time of calamities, earthquake and others, army is always at the forefront. In the floods, you see people were all out to help their brothers and sisters. Even the ration was, that was donated by all the three armed forces, all the three forces of Pakistan for the common people. So, it's the people's army, you know, it's a Pakistan army, it's not an organization, and the whole nation when standing behind an organization. It's a disciplined organization where things move according to the already described rules and regulations. You see, there was a lot of hue and cry from last couple of weeks and month about what will happen, who will be the Chief of Army Staff, this will not be the Chief of Army Staff, what will happen if this will be made, what will happen. But you see how smooth it has gone. And inshallah tomorrow the command of the army will be handed over to General Asif Munir and things will move on. So, I would just say
there
that
is going to be no compromise.
There will be no problem. There will be no problem. The military and political leadership will work in hands in gloves, and Pakistan will move toward the progress and prosperity.
Mr. Mir, when we talk about Pakistan Super League in particular, it is one of those big leagues played all over the world. And how crucial do you think launching of PSL at that very time when there was a dearth for the fans in Pakistan and also for the revival of international cricket here in Pakistan, how crucial a role PSL played in that regard?
Absolutely, and I'm very proud to say my cousin, actually it was his idea, who devised it. And he's the one who brought PSL, the whole module. And, he had guidance, he had, people behind him, and then we've got a finished product. But this product doesn't stop here. We've got to improvise the product. We need people who can actually run this in a much more professional basis. Don't forget, cricket is a multi-billion-dollar business now. It is an industry, and I lament and laugh that when I used to get 35 rupees, for a cricket, we're talking lakh. So that is the difference. So this is something which has changed. The cricketers have flourished, in this new modern era. But at the end of the day, you still have to work very hard into making your organization, particularly the PPSL, which is a great moneymaker, which is a great enhancer, and again a PR for Pakistan, politically and from a cricketing point of view. We've seen international.
Right, Mr. B, as you already said, there are a lot of commercial aspects associated with such type of leagues as well. Now, when we talk about PSL as compared to the other leagues, and especially when we talk about the league in India, it could be a kind of a worrisome situation for the people over there on that side of the border. Definitely, they might try for some sort of gimmicks in order to malign this PSL, which has blossomed over the number of years.
Jawad, the word is not gimmicks, the word is subversive. They'll do all kinds of subversive, activities to destage us. While we have to tackle India as far as marketing is concerned, we've got to get international, people to come along and market in Pakistan and, support the game. And that is the way forward. Yes, of course. What can you expect from somebody who's, who's mentally, sort of indoctrined to subvert everything good which happens in Pakistan? Have they ever given any good news about Pakistan anywhere? No, they don't. Look at us. We give, something good is going on in India. We give a good news, but have you ever seen them? No. But why? Simply because they are basically imprisoned by a band of people who Indians themselves don't even like. So let's see what happens in their elections. But we've got to maintain our positivity. We've got to maintain our integrity. And they want to talk to us. It has to be bilateral on equal terms, not what they want to dictate. And that is the way forward.
Right, Mr. Mead, the kind of rise of Hindutva over there in India and the kind of discrimination Muslims have faced with over there and the kind of atrocities and the brutalities in Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir, and then provocative statements one after the other by the top tier of the BJP high command. In that sort of a scenario, when it comes to securing our cricket, particularly when we talk about this classy project of PSL and the international confidence of the international players coming to Pakistan and play, how to secure that in particular?
Well, Jawad, I've been part of a team, which has been working in Brussels and London and track to which we have spoken to the Indians, their brigadiers, their generals, and they agree with what we say. But unfortunately, because Kashmir is now an integral part of India in the constitution, they're helpless. So we go 5 steps forward and 7 steps backward, and that is where we are. But we still need to be positive. An ordinary Hindu in England or outside, believe me, he will never act in the way some of these indoctrinated and cloned Indians or Hindus have been, doing to Muslims. You've seen that on the social media, and look what they've done in Kashmir. Believe me, even Indians condemn it in England. Yes, they have tried to infiltrate England by sending in some of those anarchists to come along and create a lot of communal disturbances, particularly in Leicester and in other areas up north. But that is only some of the. It never used to happen there. It never used to happen there at all. So why there? Because India is doing its, this planning of defaming Pakistan in the UK and of course in the United States. I've seen that out there, outside the White House, and they'll continue doing it. They will continue doing it till better sense prevails, till civility prevails, and till this basically insanity which is in their minds that goes away from them. Otherwise, as what the Brigadier said, we have to be prepared 24/7 because we can expect anything from them. And let me tell you, no Taliban attacked any Indian or any Pakistan side. No Taliban. It was always the Indian agents who did all the subversive activities in Pakistan. There was who we call terrorists. Yes, they are terrorists, but they never ever did anything as far as the sporting element is concerned. And look at that. Coming from that area, you got a fantastic Afghanistan cricket team. Where have they come from? Did they attack them? No. So that shows it has always been Indians, and they'll continue that. And when I mean Indians, I'm not including the whole of India. There are very fine people in India, very fine people. It's just this band, which needs to be, I guess, defeated in their elections.
Right, Brigadier Jagir, when we talk about this kind gesture shown by English cricket team captain Ben Stokes of donating that fees of the entire series to the flood victims, and then the kind of statement coming from Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif also that this particular gesture speaks volumes about the philanthropic tradition of Britain. Over the years, Pakistan and Britain have enhanced their relationship, and the relationship had been fraternal and cordial and magnificent. How do you think this particular cricketing series is going to further cement that cordial relationship?
Obviously, our diplomatic relations with England are very, very important because of the geostrategic location, our role, Pakistan's role in problem solving at the international level. I think that this will add on to that, because the people-to-people contact, one. Second is that the good gesture which have been shown by the England captain will be remembered by all of us, and the memories which they will take back of Pakistan, as I described earlier, they will be seeing personally, and they will be going over there, and if out of the 50-member squad, if they meet 10 people and convince them.
They're, of course, going to talk about the positive
Yes.
side of Pakistan. Your point is well taken. Brigadier retired Shahid Jagir, senior analyst, thank you very much for your time, for being in the studio at Views on News. Really appreciate that. And on Skype, we were joined by Mr. Parvez Jamil Mir, senior journalist. Mr. Mir, thank you very much for your time. Also, it's always been an enlightening discussion with you. Really appreciate your time. Now, since Pakistan is going to face England for the 3 test match series Orient, the first is going to start on December the 1st, and a lot is expected from both the sides. In the recent encounters that were in the T20 format, England superseded Pakistan. The 7-match series that were played in Pakistan, England won that series by 4-3, and they had the encounter in the T20 World Cup final as well, and England stood out victorious. But both the teams have the sportsman spirit, and the fans will rejoice by seeing that very view of their cricketers playing on the Pakistani soil, the likes of Babar Azam, Azhar Ali, Naseem Shah, Yasir Shah, and from the other side, Ben Stokes, James Anderson, Joe Root, Mark Wood, and a newbie over there as well, Rehan Ahmed. There is a 16-member squad, and lots of cricket to come for the Pakistani fans. And indeed, it happened because of the relentless efforts of the Pakistani security forces and the armed forces and the civilian leadership as well to defeat the scourge of terrorism from Pakistan. With this note, we come to the end of today's Views on News. Until the next one, take good care of yourselves.